The Seventh Tower by Garth Nix. Book 2, Castle, Chapter 13. Mila had been blinded and knocked out by the blast from the guard's sunstone. Only her face mask and armor had saved her from being burned, and they were both charred, the amber lenses of the mask partly melted, and the Selsky eye black and peeling. The guards had quickly stripped the armor and mask off and tied her wrists and ankles. Shrouding her in a tablecloth taken from Ebbett's hoard, they rushed her away, taking the least traveled corridors to the Hall of Nightmares. Even so, people saw them, and many chosen would later remark on the 4 disheveled, bruised, and bleeding guards and the body they carried between them. But all thought they were simply disposing of an underfolk who had run amok, which was unusual, but not unheard of. They did not see Mila's alien white-blonde hair or the strange clothing she wore. The Merwin's sword was also wrapped, and could have been any makeshift weapon. One chosen amused his friends by describing the stupid underfolk who had gone mad with a table leg. The guards were unlucky in one shortcut they chose. The middle garden was a large open chamber of high vaulted ceilings, restful tree ferns, reflective pools lined with small sunstones, and crystal fountains that grew of their own accord and then collapsed to grow again. It was unusual for more than 4 moody chosen to be there, but that particular day, Bright Star Parl of the Blue was recreating to 47 of his closest friends the achievement of poetry that had won him the violet ray of attainment. Parl was reciting his poem and writing all 380 words of it in letters of acrobatic blue light when the guards came running through, completely putting him off. He faltered in mid-stanza, and the blue light letters crashed into one another, producing a rather disgusting lumpy cloud of greenish-brown that hung over the audience. The onlookers took a moment to realize what had happened. As they did, they turned their sunstones on the guards, flashing red rays of dissatisfaction to show their displeasure at the insult to Parl's work of genius. While the chosen would do no more than this, their spirit shadows reflected their master's true feelings, looming up from the floor to make aggressive gestures at the guards. The guards did not stop to offer blue rays of respectful apology. The audience was left to mutter and complain, while Parl collapsed, sobbing, adding his tears to one of the sunstone-filled pools. Once clear of the middle garden, there were no more obstacles, only single chosen who rapidly got out of their way. The Hall of Nightmares was located on the eastern side of the castle, in an area of many empty rooms and chambers. Chosen did not go there, unless it was against their will. Most would only reluctantly admit that the Hall of Nightmares even existed. Unlike many doors in the castle, which were marked with the color of the order and a family sign or official notice, the great gate to the Hall of Nightmares was completely white. It was securely shut, with a single sunstone where the keyhole would normally be. The guards lowered Mila's unconscious body to the floor. Then one touched his sunstone bracelet to the stone in the door. Violet light flashed, and the gate slowly groaned open. There was nothing but darkness beyond. "One for you, Flashneck," shouted a guard nervously. They made no attempt to pass through the gate. Footsteps sounded in the hall beyond, and the guards moved back. Slow footsteps, as if the walker found moving difficult or struggled with a great weight. The guards shuffled even farther back as the yet unseen Flashneck emerged into the light, and the reason for their fear became obvious. Flashneck was a tall, very thin man with long black hair tied back behind his head. His most distinctive feature should have been his broad nose, with its widely flared nostrils, as if he smelled his way through life. But when he stepped out into the light, all eyes were drawn to the left side of his body, because most of it was missing. Something had chewed on him from hip to shoulder, and his left arm was not human. The missing flesh had been replaced by shadow. Night-dark pincers flexed at the end of his new left arm. It, too, was made of shadow, and jointed in 3 places. Even worse than the shadow filling in missing flesh, the rest of the spirit shadow was joined to Flashneck like a bonded twin. It had filled Fashneck's missing body where it could, but was unable to significantly alter its own shape. It had an insectoid form, with 6 multi-jointed limbs, a bulbous body, and a head with a long mouth like the neck of a bottle. The end of this hideous mouth was completely ringed with tiny curved teeth, disturbingly like a grossly enlarged leech. To keep Fashneck's appearance as human as it could, the spirit shadow clung to his side and back, hiding as much as possible behind him. Kept alive in such an appalling way, Fashneck was repulsive to other chosen. He could never be welcome to any attainment, entertainment, or event. He could never be seen at the Empress's court, or in the assembly. But he had found his place in the Hall of Nightmares, and now the others feared him. Reaching down with human hand and shadow-flesh pincer, he gripped the tablecloth and slowly pulled Mila's unconscious body into the hall. As Mila's heels passed the gate, it slowly ground shut. The guards, who had watched in silence, didn't move until a loud click pronounced the doors locked once more.